All right, this is semester project 2 with Nate Burdett and Braden Lowe. So we decided to do the inventory management system. And so just to kind of walk you through a couple things. First, up top, you see the title page, kind of a couple instructions for the code. And then there's a link to our external file where the Os Corinthianos. And then I was responsible for the organization of the code and formatting it correctly. As well as the main function, and then Braden, he was responsible for the defining of the individual functions and troubleshooting the code. So basically the middle fat block of code. And so we used a ton of if-then statements throughout the code. You see a couple of them in the add and the remove and the edit functions, and also in the main body function as well. At the very top, we used the reading to read in the CVS right there at the top. We used a while loop in the middle of the main function right there, so it would keep looping through all the items until we were done. We used numeric and string variables. The numerical variables were like the quantity, and then the string ones were the actual names of the items, which the user puts in at the top. And so then we have a dictionary. So the whole thing is just a big fat dictionary that it keeps adding and subtracting from. And so that's kind of throughout. And then all those green comments are all the comments we made. And then the 3 functions that we used are the remove, add, and the edit function. And then we used a ton of input statements throughout the code. But let's show you how the code works. So yeah, you have to run the first one, and then when you run the second one to save all of our functions, and then this main one at the bottom is what actually runs the code. So first of all, it asks you to add, remove, or edit whatever you want to do. So we want to add. Let's add some apples. So let's add 100 apples to our list. And every single time you add or subtract or do anything, it'll always give you an updated graph of where you're at. So here we have 100 apples. So now we'll go to the next one, and let's just add some bananas now. So let's add, I don't know, 95 bananas. And then here's an updated graph of what we've got going on. So now let's show how it can remove. Let's remove 32 of our apples. That would leave us with 78, I think. 78 apples.
68.
68. Yeah, so there's the 68 apples. And then we can also edit apples. Let's try editing apples. And yeah, just throw in 20 or something. 50 works great. So now we have 50 apples.
And that's the inventory we have. And it runs until the user decides to exit, and it'll save the inventory. And then you can go back and open the inventory on the side, and it'll show you the items and the quantities. But to finish off, I'll just share something that I learned in writing this code in this project. I learned how you can define we can define functions in a first code block and then call the functions later in a big loop. So it runs through each function from the top section, and then in our main we have different functions already defined inside by their name. So I learned how to do that and kind of make some complicated code.
Yeah, something I learned was just like how helpful it was to make the pseudocode, I believe was what it was called. Kind of have an outline. Really, when we got this, I had no idea how we was going to do it, but as soon as we kind of blocked out like what needed to do what, then we were able to kind of piece through it and puzzle through it. So that was really helpful to know.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for watching.